my friends, Dionne here. Thank you so much for joining me. So sometimes there can be a lot of pressure for our practice to be a particular way. Sometimes that pressure comes from other people, sometimes it's pressure that we put on ourselves, maybe it's New Year stuff. Whatever it is, I'm here to remind you that you get to create and design your own practice, and that can change day to day, moment to moment, and then it's okay if you feel like you've been away from the mat for a while or you don't even know where to begin. So let's begin. Let's start by standing and work one step at a time, quite literally. We're going to start with the feet. Do you know that song, heads, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes? I know I'm cringe, it's just how it is. Let's embrace the cringe and the awkwardness and get into it. So ideally, you want to be barefoot if that feels okay for you. It's a nice way to get grounded. If not, don't worry, just have your socks on or whatever, but try to avoid wearing shoes at this point. Give your toes a little wiggle around. Then just feel and sense the ground beneath you. That's nice, a nice quick way just to tap into the support that's all around. So you're not alone. You're doing this together. And then when you feel into your feet, perhaps you can start to experiment bending the knees a little and then creating these sort of spirally circle shapes, just rolling around on the floor. My favourite thing. So you can do this however you like, make it accessible, let it feel good. If there's any pain at any point with anything, please stop what you're doing or adjust it, right? So remember that it's your practice. So it can look and feel in the way that's best for you. No one else. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Do you. Alright, so up to you how much you want to take this. I like to sort of really imagine I'm just kind of, I don't know, like dancing. Oh, this sounds so cheesy, but you know, like I'm dancing with the ground as my partner, and I'm just sort of like really trying to feel into the circumference of my feet. So this is quite nice if you know that you have a tendency to walk with an emphasis on a particular side of your foot, which most of us do. It's quite standard, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can just be to do with the structure of your skeleton, right? So I hope that this practice, by taking one step at a time, one thing at a time, hope that it can remind you that everything is connected. So if you're going in one direction with your spiral circles, just start to slowly change direction. I'm just going to kind of give you a side view as to what's going on here. So although the emphasis is starting with our feet, I think it's like a nice sneaky way to remind ourselves that everything is connected. So although we can break it down step by step, actually as we move through our feet with the emphasis on our feet, you're going to notice that your knees are going to move. You're going to notice that your hips are probably going to move, your shoulders perhaps, your head, and that's okay. Let it. Okay, so we're going to move on up. I'm going to avoid singing today. Into the knees. So I like to take my hands to my knees, like, where are my knees? There they are. And keeping the knees bent. Take similar kind of circles, varying degrees. You can switch it up. Take them via your knees. Oh, I'm quite out of breath. So remember to breathe as you're going. Notice what's happening here, the sensations, the feelings. Hopefully it feels good. That's what we're looking for. Let's start with pleasure first. Everything else can come later. Change directions. So it's up to you if you have your hands on your knees or not. If you prefer to kind of do the hula, go for it. That wasn't a hula, was it? Someone give me some hula lessons. Is it even called hula? Is that the proper name? So many questions. Okay, up into the hips. So if it helps, place your hands on your hips. Sometimes I like to do that in my own practice, in my own movement practice, because it just kind of gives me a sense of like, oh, what am I working with? Okay, here's where my focus is. It's almost like a meditation. So I could start talking about the pressures of meditation and how meditation should look as a practice. Maybe I will. Meditation can be what you want it to be. And if your expectation of meditation, change directions, if your expectation of meditation is to have this peace and like no kind of waves or, I don't know, thoughts, then maybe you need to redefine your idea of what meditation is, because I don't think I know anyone who can experience a meditation practice that is complete bliss and there's no thoughts or, you know, no chaos, because that's the nature of the mind. Maybe that's another video. Let me know if you want to do some meditation stuff with me. Okay, so hips. This is what I like to do in public, right? Because I look like an idiot and that's okay. So now shoulders. So take some shoulder circles, just lovely circles, getting into the shoulders. You know your shoulders best, so if this is in a particular area of tension, just like with any other part of the body, just please be mindful, loving, gentle. You can go as big or as small as you like. You can take your own pace. Let that be some guidance for life. You get to choose how you show up, the pace, the rhythm. Nice, okay, change directions of your circles. And maybe this is enough today, that's all good. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this kind of process, although we're moving the circles, maybe you can even think about your elbows, because naturally your elbows are going to move. Maybe even you let the elbows lead this movement. And then feel free to drop one hand, doesn't matter which. We're just going to focus on one side. So that free hand, you can have it on your hip or let it hang loose, whatever works. And then just really start to emphasize the movement, the spirals of this shoulder that's still attached to the hand. You know what I mean, right? Maybe using the elbow as a guidance. Perhaps you start to really explore, get creative, and make these spirals even bigger. Perhaps you're taking up even more space. And notice as you do this, and it helps to slow down as you do it. Notice if there's any unnecessary tension that's coming along for the ride. So for me, an area of tension is always my neck. So if you're kind of craning your neck and overworking, maybe see what you can do to free that up. Maybe use props for support. You could use the wall, or maybe you can just make the circles smaller. Maybe rein it in a little bit. Changing directions if you like. And then an option for those of you who want this, you can just let that hand go and then make these like fire poi, 90s rave in a field dancing. You remember? I was listening to like The Beloved this morning. Shout out to like 90s like raves. Okay, other side, so switch sides. Feel free to like pause me and my nonsense and like go at this on your own. Let it be an exploration. Maybe notice areas that are like, oh, that feels quite good to get in there. Maybe you go a bit backwards and forwards there. Maybe you slow down, maybe you speed up, maybe you change direction. Maybe you're not even making circles or spirals. Maybe it's more like a figure 8. Dun, dun. Maybe you add the whole arm into it. Maybe it's more like a kind of swimming situation. And just like I was saying earlier, you know, we're working with the shoulder, but the elbow, the wrists, the hands, the fingers, but also the spine, naturally, the knees, the hips, whole body movement. As wild or as chill as you like, depending on your mood. When you're done with that, like, let that all go. And take a moment just to feel in. So I've got my feet hip width distance apart. And I like to close my eyes and just notice. Notice how you feel. So when you're working with any kind of movement practice, it's likely that when you pause and take a rest, which is really useful, when you take those moments, there's probably going to be this sort of ripple or maybe this feeling of like a pulsation or a vibration, circulation, right? A shift, hopefully, which can be really helpful for us. Maybe a reminder of your power to be able to shift your state, even with the most simple action. Just starting with one thing at a time. just take a little more time to just observe. Maybe you notice your pulse. Maybe notice the rhythm of your breath. Maybe the seagulls. Maybe your temperature, different parts of your body. And then from here, just bring your palms together. Give the hands a little rub. Just generating some heat, some more energy, literally in your hands. It's in our hand. Okay, I'm not going to sing Björk for you, but that was a good song. Alright, now take the hands and just cup them over your eyes. And then with your eyes cupped, gently start to blink your eyes open. And then slowly reveal, very gently. We are born. Notice how you feel. I hope you feel good, better. I'd love to know how this practice was for you. And if you take anything away from it, just a reminder, you can do one part of this practice, you can take a few seconds to shift your state. You are powerful. Your energy is powerful. Thank you for practicing with me. One step at a time. Step by step. Ooh.